Scorpio, a man's mistake will shock you. Something is wrong. You already feel it, don't you? That nagging feeling in your stomach that won't go away. That inner voice whispering that there's something you don't yet know, but need to find out. You've been trying to ignore it, trying to rationalize it, trying to believe it's just your mind creating problems where there aren't any. But it's not. Your intuition never fails. And at this very moment, as you read these words, it's screaming that something profoundly wrong has happened. A man in your life made a mistake, not just any mistake, a mistake so serious, so shocking, so beyond what you imagined possible, that when you find out, you'll question everything you thought about him and about yourself. The mistake has already happened. It's not something that will happen later. It's already done. It's already there, hidden in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to come to light. And that moment is coming faster than you imagine. The universe has a peculiar way of revealing truths, always at the exact moment you most need to know, even if it's devastating. And you need to know this, because what this man did will completely change the course of your life. It will force you to make decisions you've been putting off. It will free you from illusions you've been maintaining, because it was more comfortable to believe the lie than to face the truth. You know who I'm talking about. I don't need to name names. That man who occupies space in your mind, in your heart, in your life. It could be someone you love, someone you trust, someone you never imagined capable of something like this. And that's exactly why the shock will be so intense. Because the deepest betrayal always comes from where we least expect it. From the person we swore was incapable. From the person we placed on such a high pedestal that we couldn't even imagine the fall. But he will fall. And when he falls, the crash will echo in every area of your life. Are you ready to discover that the person you completely trusted is capable of mistakes you would never forgive in anyone? Scorpio, what I'm about to reveal will prepare you for the impact of this discovery. Because when the truth comes out, and it will, you'll need all the strength and clarity you can muster. This isn't a small mistake that can be forgotten with time. It's not an understandable human failing. It's something that goes against your fundamental values, something that will challenge your capacity for forgiveness, even if you deeply understand human complexity. It's the kind of mistake that reveals a person's true character, stripping away all masks and showing who they really are when they think no one is watching. This man's mistake has to do with betraying your trust, but not in the obvious way you might imagine. It's more subtle, more calculated, more conscious than a simple emotional or physical betrayal. He made deliberate choices knowing he was deceiving you. He planned actions knowing that if you found out, you would be devastated. And yet he chose to go through with it. This wasn't a moment of weakness. It was a series of conscious decisions where he put his own interests above everything you had built together, above the truth, above respect, above you. The stars show that this week will be marked by important discoveries, especially those related to trust and personal relationships. A mistake, a choice, or an attitude taken by a man from his circle, this could be a partner, ex, friend, or family member, is about to be exposed. And when the truth comes out, it will be impossible to continue pretending that nothing has changed. The universe wants to show you who truly deserves to be by your side, and who was just taking up space. You may not be emotionally prepared for what's coming, but his soul already knows that something is coming, and you are stronger than ever to deal with this. You may notice strange or evasive conversations, sudden change in behavior, feelings of alertness or discomfort when being near this person, or even someone revealing information to you that changes everything. Scorpio, you are a master at sensing what is hidden, and now this sensitivity will be your best ally. The mistake made by this male figure may have been betrayal, a cover-up lie, or an omission that completely changes your perspective on the situation. The revelation may come by chance, but nothing will happen by chance. For Scorpios born between October 23rd and November 2nd, this mistake relates to financial or material matters that he deliberately hid. money that should have been shared but was diverted, resources that were misused while he told you a different story. The revelation will come through documents, messages, or third parties who will expose the truth he tried to bury. For those born between November 3rd and 12th, the mistake is emotional and relational in nature. He maintained connections he swore he had ended, or created new ones while swearing exclusivity and loyalty to you. And for those born between November 13th and 21st, the mistake involves breaking fundamental promises about your future together, plans he secretly sabotaged while making you believe you were building something together. But regardless of the specific nature of the mistake, the pattern is the same. He underestimated your intelligence. He thought he could fool you indefinitely. He believed his lies were good enough to slip past your radar. And that was his biggest flaw, not recognizing that a Scorpio woman isn't easily fooled, and when she is, discovering the truth is only a matter of time. And that time is up. The shock won't just come from discovering the mistake itself. It will come from realizing how many times he looked you in the eye and lied, how many conversations you had where he performed innocence while carrying guilt, how many times you questioned your own intuition because he was so convincing in his deceit. The shock will come from realizing that while you were being loyal, honest, and vulnerable, he was operating from a place of calculated deception. And worse, he watched you doubt yourself and allowed you to continue doubting because it served his interests. Scorpio, you'll wonder how you didn't see it sooner. You'll review every memory, searching for signs you missed. You'll blame yourself for not trusting your intuition more. But I need you to understand something crucial. You didn't fail. He was exceptionally good at deceiving. Some people are masters at creating facades, at presenting versions of themselves so convincing that even the most perceptive are temporarily fooled. This isn't a reflection of your judgment. It's proof of his skill in manipulation. And professional manipulators choose valuable people as targets, because deceiving someone without discernment isn't an achievement. Deceiving someone like you is what validates their sick ego. When the mistake is revealed, it will happen in a way that you won't be able to deny or rationalize. It won't be something vague that he can explain with pretty words. It will be concrete, tangible, undeniable. It might be through someone who decides you deserve to know the truth. It might be something you discover yourself by stumbling upon evidence he left behind through increasing carelessness. It might be him confessing in a moment of guilty conscience. But regardless of how it comes, it will be impossible to ignore, and it will force you to make decisions you've been avoiding. His mistake will set you free. I know it seems impossible to see that now, when you don't even fully understand what happened, but the truth is, you were trapped in a false version of reality that he constructed. You were investing energy in something that wasn't what it seemed. You were trusting someone who didn't deserve that trust, and discovering his mistake, however painful, will break the invisible chains that bound you to this illusion. It will give you the information you need to make truly informed choices about your future. Scorpio, you are known for your ability to transform through destruction, to be reborn from the ashes of situations that would destroy weaker people. And this mistake that will shock you is the fire that will burn away everything that isn't real in your life. It will hurt. It will be intense. It will make you question everything. But on the other side of this necessary destruction, you will emerge stronger, wiser, with even higher standards and zero tolerance for games and falsehoods. The shock will also bring brutal clarity. Things you didn't understand will suddenly make sense. Strange behaviors you justified will reveal their true motives. Moments where you felt something was wrong but couldn't identify what will be illuminated with complete understanding. It's as if a confusing puzzle suddenly comes together into a clear and defined picture. And although that picture isn't pretty, at least it's real, and you always preferred ugly truths to pretty lies. In the days leading up to the revelation, you might notice subtle changes in his behavior, Perhaps he becomes more attentive, trying to compensate for the guilt he carries. Or perhaps he becomes more distant, unable to maintain the mask when the internal pressure mounts. Maybe he starts mentioning things like everyone makes mistakes or relationships require forgiveness, preparing the ground for the confession he knows he needs to make. Or perhaps he becomes more aggressive, projecting onto you the anger he feels towards himself. Pay attention to these signs. They are the final moves before the castle of lies completely crumbles. And when it all falls apart, when you finally know what he did, you'll have to decide what to do with that information. Some people will advise you to forgive, to give him another chance, to remember the good times. Others will tell you to leave immediately, that once a mistake, always a mistake. But the truth is, only you can decide what this mistake means for you and for your future together. Only you know the limits of what you can forgive and what is unacceptable. Only you know the full context and the story. But I'll tell you something important. Whatever your decision, it needs to come from a place of strength, not fear. If you decide to stay, it can't be because you're afraid of being alone, or because you've invested a lot of time and don't want to waste it, or because he convinced you that no one else will want you. If you decide to stay, it needs to be because you genuinely believe he can do the work of transforming himself into the person who deserves a second chance from you. And you need to be willing to establish clear terms and real consequences if there is further infidelity. And if you decide to leave, it can't be in a moment of blind rage where you explode and then regret it. It needs to be a calculated choice, made with the cool head characteristic of Scorpio when making important decisions. A choice to walk away, not out of revenge, but out of self-respect. Out of recognizing that you deserve someone whose love for you is stronger than any temptation to make a mistake. Someone who values you too much to risk losing you because of selfish choices. His mistake will also teach you about the mistakes you yourself make. Perhaps you ignored signs because you didn't want to face reality. Perhaps you compromised on important values because you were afraid of losing the relationship. Perhaps you were so focused on seeing his potential that you didn't pay enough attention to who he really is now. These lessons, though painful, are valuable. They will prevent you from repeating the same patterns in future relationships. Scorpio, something I need you to understand is that his mistake says nothing about your worth. Sometimes, even the most incredible, loyal, attractive, and complete women are betrayed or deceived. Not because they lack something, but because there's something broken in the person who chose to betray them. His mistake is a reflection of his own character flaws, not a statement about your self-sufficiency. You were always too much, and that's exactly why he knew that if you found out the truth, you would lose something irreplaceable. Your biggest challenge will be to control the impulse to react intensely. You may feel anger, hurt, disappointment, and all of this is valid. But the real strength will be in your choice of how to deal with that truth. The universe is giving you an opportunity to break a toxic cycle, to set limits where there was previously doubt, to break free from relationships you maintained out of loyalty, but which were not reciprocated. You may have forgiven in the past, but now it's not about forgiveness, it's about self-respect. This mistake doesn't define you, it defines the other person and the way you react to it. This will determine the type of energy you attract into 2026. You can move forward lighter, more aware, more selective, or you can cling to what has already proven it no longer deserves a place in your life. The choice is yours, and the universe will support you every step of the way on your path to liberation. The revelation may come silently, or in the form of a confrontation. It could be a discovered message, an overheard conversation, or perhaps someone close to you will bring you the truth that has been hidden from you. When that happens, don't doubt yourself. You always knew. You were just waiting for confirmation. And now that she's arrived, you no longer need to justify, hold on to, or sustain what hurts you. Scorpio, this truth is going to hurt. but you will also break free. It marks the end of an illusion and the beginning of a new phase, much more honest with her soul. You're not losing anything. You are being spared. The shock you'll feel will also include anger. Intense anger, the kind only Scorpios know. Anger at having been deceived. Anger at having wasted time and energy. Anger at having been vulnerable with someone who didn't honor that vulnerability. This anger is valid. Don't repress it, but also don't let it consume you or turn you into a bitter person. Use this anger as fuel for necessary changes, to establish stronger boundaries, to be even more selective about who has access to your inner world. When the truth fully emerges, you will also need to decide what to tell others. There will be people in your life who will want to know details, who will ask questions, who will form opinions, and you will have to decide how much you want to reveal, how much you want to keep private, and who deserves to know what happened. Remember, you don't owe anyone explanations about your relationship choices. Neither about why you decided to stay, if you stay, nor about why you decided to leave, if you leave. These are your decisions based on information and context that only you fully possess. Also, be prepared for the possibility that he will try to downplay the mistake when confronted. He'll say, "It wasn't as serious as it seems," that you're exaggerating, that you're making a mountain out of a molehill. This is a classic tactic of someone who knows they did something wrong but doesn't want to take full responsibility. Don't let him redefine your reality. You know how you felt. You know what the agreement was between you. You know what was violated. Don't let anyone, not even him, convince you that your pain is illegitimate or exaggerated. Scorpio, in the coming days and weeks, as the truth nears the surface, trust your intuition more than ever. If something tells you to look in a certain place, look. If someone tells you to ask a specific question, ask. If someone tells you there's more than they're admitting, there is. Your Scorpio intuition is a gift that exists precisely for moments like this, to protect you, to guide you, to show you truths that others try to hide. And when you finally know everything, when there's nothing left to discover, when the totality of the mistake is exposed before you, give yourself permission to process it at your own pace. There's no right timeline for healing. There's no predetermined time to decide what to do. You may need days, weeks, or months to fully integrate what you've discovered and decide your next step, and that's perfectly valid. Important decisions shouldn't be rushed, even when external pressure suggests you should decide immediately. This man's mistake will also reveal who his true allies are. When the truth comes out, observe who supports you unconditionally and who tries to defend the indefensible, who validates your feelings and who tries to make you feel guilty for being upset, who respects your decisions and who pressures you to choose what they think you should choose. This information about your social circle is valuable and will help you understand who truly deserves a place in your life. Scorpio, the shock will pass. I promise it will. Not immediately, not without pain, but eventually. And when it does, you'll realize you survived, that you went through the fire and came out the other side, maybe with scars, but also with wisdom, maybe with wounds, but also with renewed strength. Maybe with sadness, but also with clarity about what you will and will not tolerate in your life from now on. His mistake will be one of the most transformative experiences of his life. Not because you wanted this transformation, but because it's necessary. You were living with incomplete information, making decisions based on false versions of reality. Now you will have the complete truth. And truth, however painful, is always better than living in illusion. Because with truth, you have power. You have a choice. You have agency over your own destiny. When all this is over, when you look back and see this moment with the perspective of time and distance, you will recognize that it was a turning point. The moment when you stopped accepting less than you deserve. The moment when you learned that true love doesn't involve deceit. The moment when you decide that you prefer to be alone with your integrity intact than in the company of someone who doesn't honor your trust. This man's mistake will shock you. It will shake you. It will force you to question everything, but it won't destroy you. Because you are a Scorpio. And Scorpio isn't destroyed by betrayal. It's transformed by it, reborn from it, emerges more powerful. You've already survived things that broke weaker people, and you'll survive this too. With scars, yes, but also with wisdom that only comes through fire. If this message resonated with you in a way that made your heart race because you feel you're about to discover something, simply share "I already know" in the comments. Because deep down, you already know something is wrong. You don't know the details yet, but you know there are hidden truths waiting to emerge. This affirmation will strengthen your courage to seek those truths when the time comes. Subscribe to the channel now, because in upcoming videos, I'll be sharing content on how to process deep betrayals, how to rebuild self-confidence after being deceived, and how to decide between forgiveness and leaving when both options seem impossible. Turn on notifications to receive support during this difficult process you may be about to go through. This is the moment of truth, Scorpio. His mistake will be revealed. The shock will come, but you will survive. You will process it. You will decide, and eventually you will be grateful for having discovered it, because living in truth, even when it hurts, is always better than living a lie. Trust your intuition. It is preparing you for what is to come, and when it comes, remember, you are stronger than any truth you need to face.